Oh. Hi everyone, we are live at Epic headquarters. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope everyone had a good holiday. I hope you didn't miss us too much.
So, we missed you.
We missed you, for sure. I know I did. Well, not too much because I was still talking to you guys, but you know. So before the break, you guys had a little stream, you and Joe, and you were talking about lots of things. And one of the things was movement, and so this was, what we just saw was Stolic's video.
Yeah, he did some really cool stuff. I think that's actually what got us, or one of the things anyway that got us talking about that was we tried his movement mutator down in the playtest lab one day, and we got a bunch of people together. And reactions were all over the place. Some people loved it, some people hated it, some people liked pieces of it, whatever. But it started the conversation, which was good. So I was just happy to see that Zacubus put that out there so we get more eyes on it and get more feedback.
Yeah, so can people play with it now? Or?
Yeah, definitely. It's just download in the forums, and it's just a mutator you can enable with and start a custom game. So.
Yep. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, so make sure you check out the video that Zacubus posted, and if you want, grab it and download it, and let us know what you think. We would love to hear from you. So.
I'd actually like to try it on our new scale.
I don't want.
I mean, it's piling things on top of things.
I don't want to do it in the next build, or we're limiting. So yeah, the big thing that's going to affect the feel of movement and levels a bit is we're messing around with player scale a little bit. We haven't settled on exactly what the final value will be, but we'll definitely have something new in the next build. And there'll be a few, I can't remember now what small movement changes I made before Christmas. There'll be a couple of very minor tweaks, but mostly we want to, I think we need to let that, see what that impact has without.
I guess we haven't settled yet what that's going to be either, right? What people are going to see for the first time. Currently we have 15%.
Yeah. And again, it's all in the dev build, so you can go to GitHub, download all that, and give us feedback on what you think.
Yeah, because once you change one thing, then it always changes something else. And
Well, it's cool because I think it changed the perception of speed in the game, but we didn't change weapons, and so I don't know. There's going to be a lot of sliding fallout.
It somewhat changes the perception of speed. It's interesting because your perception, because the level is small around you. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, you feel like you're moving slower, but you're still getting from A to B in the same amount of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, for the combat distances and everything, it still feels right, but you just feel like you're more grounded in the space, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's cool. Check it out.
So we have a lot to work on this year, huh?
Yeah, we're still, hopefully we'll have a build out in a couple of weeks. We're still far from stable. Well, that change has a lot of fallout that so we need to finalize it so we can fix all that. We're still working
not square one, but
we still have a lot of 4.11 fixes to do, and I'm also working on doing some a little bit of polish on Showdown, on the presentation part of Showdown, which not really changing the gameplay. I don't think do we have any gameplay changes to Showdown since last?
Maybe.
There's been minor stuff that Matt has added, like spectator stuff.
Yeah.
No, but that's presentation, right?
And I'm going to be fixing to the game itself. I don't think anything. Really
Showdown is a heavily presentation, or relies heavily on good presentation. So therefore, those things help make the game type a lot more fun because it's more fun to engage with that information. But other than that, I don't think we have had any.
Yeah, and
you've got a lot of maps.
It's interesting actually because my list for what I'm going to try to fix up, it keeps growing because every time I play around, it's like, oh, I'd really like to see this. Or it'd be nice if this showed up here.
So one other thing that I've done is I've played with just some really super simple experimental test shells. Basically, taking silly concepts just to kind of prove out is this approach fun? Like one little arena that's basically just pick a spawn point, which is essentially pick a weapon. Yeah. And then you just duke it out. And it's just a cylinder with some crap in it, basically, to just test the concept of, hey, would it be fun,
really fun
to just pick your weapon ad hoc and go in and fight, and that's it, and nothing else, right? Just as an experimental thing to see, hey, could that go anywhere? Same version, and that's actually something that people can take advantage of now too if they want to make their own Showdown-focused maps. Matt made it so that team player starts are respected when you pick your spawns. So basically, you can set up maps in an old, I don't know, almost like Gears style, Warzone style, where each team spawns on one side, kind of set up, right? Which is kind of, it sort of negates the pick your spawn thing unless you actually tie it in with weapons that spawn right in front of the spawn points. but at least lets you experiment with the, hey, what if we had a round-based game type where there's a front and a map when people meet and clash, and you repeat that a bunch of times, and what other things can happen with that kind of game type.
Yeah. Well, if nothing else, it's cool to see game type specific maps.
Right.
They really take advantage of the game type as opposed to us wondering, is it the game type that's broken, or is it the map just doesn't work well with the game type, and kind of reduces some variables.
Especially with blueprints there, if we're smart with sticking with a somewhat simple concept to begin with, then theoretically the maps themselves could be a deciding factor on how the game type is really augmented on an instance basis, like coming up with, I don't know, we had talked about having actually kind of delayed pickups as an alternate sort of thing in the front showdown map, so you can't just, so it's not just a suicide die for the thing, but you instead have to actually stay on there and kind of collect it for 1 or 2 seconds to kind of, force people to resolve their conflict first, not just do the suicide run for it. And this could be map specific thing, or coming up with ways, like, I don't know, if I have some stuff scribbled down on my whiteboard of maybe there are doors that only trigger if a certain percentage of the players in the round are dead already, and it actually shows one of, so certain areas don't become available until there's already 2 people dead, and then that could create interesting scenarios of.
Or you could go the other way, right? Which is
like if you imagine 3v3, there could be
funnels people into a single room
thing, right? Where you kind of close off areas as people.
Right. Or do the. So you have a 3v3 going on, one person dies, it's still a 2v2, it's still even, but they now fight over access to the thing. Or maybe it's a lopsided thing, 2 people die on one team, if 3 people are still around, that one guy manages to get in there, gets whatever advantage he can get, and then that gives him a clutch to
kind of like the Shootmania, the Storm game type. It was kind of like that, where everybody gets funneled down. I really enjoyed that mechanic. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, except for them it was a hard win condition.
Yes.
And that's what, I don't necessarily like that concept of it. I like people to still be validly moving around the entire space and having options open as
well. And again, it gives you, like you said, multiple ways to win, right? Like you can take out the other team or get the objective, and just having that objective totally changes the game.
Because the predictability of being the one guy alive and the 3 people that might be hunting that guy down, the predictability of those 3 people also wanting to get into that particular spot gives the lone guy maybe a leg up as well if he exploits that knowledge and that advantage, right? It turns into like a cat and mouse thing. Same reason why I think that timers and pickups are great, but it's a different discussion.
I was talking to Zacubus earlier today as well, and he wants to start in the new year I can't remember what he called it. He had a clever name for it, like not a feedback tournament, but essentially a semi-organized thing where we get people in to play Showdown and we get to watch them and see how they play. So it's somewhat like an organized competitive thing, but it's a good opportunity for us to see how the game is functioning and get some good feedback. So could be fun.
Okay, what else we have coming up? Are we gonna still be in pre-alpha, or how long is that gonna go?
Well, until we're not.
Until
I mean,
it's done.
We have several pieces that we're still working on. That I would say, like, I mean, it's sort of a. I can't think of the word, but it's a definition that's kind of based on when we decide that we're. But I mean, I think having round-based gameplay functionality fully implemented, we want to explore some kind of loadout system and having a good prototype of that working. Having our economy stuff a little bit more fleshed out, like at least a first version of that. I think are the big
that
things.
may tie into that system too, thematically, potentially, right?
Yeah. So I think that there's several things that we know we still need to do. I mean, I don't think we're. I mean, from my definition, and definitions your mileage may vary on definition of pre-alpha, but I think we're still months away, but not a large number of months away.
Yeah, and we vary too. We had hoped to be out of pre-alpha by the beginning of the year, maybe into something we would call alpha. We don't know, but resources are always moving around.
Yes.
Paragon kicked into high gear, and so we didn't get the staffing that we thought. There's a lot of variables that go on there, so it's subject to change.
Yep.
Let's see what else we have going on. What do we want to accomplish this year? As far as UT goes?
All the things.
All the
World
things.
domination. No.
So what we talked about, we want to have the loot system in.
Yeah.
We want to have a little bit more discussions going on with the community, get them to give us more work.
I mean, I guess larger scale picture. I mean, we want to be at least a beta game this year. I mean, we want to
Yes.
we want this year to
That's what I
have
want.
a fully functional game that may not be fully polished in terms of, you know, depending on the scope of what we can do in terms of visuals and everything, but is feels like a complete game, right? Doesn't feel like held together with.
Well, I
duct
feel like
tape
we're
and
we're
string.
just to the point now where we're kind of starting to unify and lock down on what the game is.
Yeah.
You know, whereas before we were kind of just more in the realm of testing systems and
Yeah.
crazy ideas. You know, we have weapons now. We have a couple characters in, so we can start building teams. We can start building, you know, all the components that are going to make the game instead of just a collection of
So
systems.
in terms of what the main game is, I guess too at this point, up until this point, we've kind of been, hey, let's make all the things happen that we know happened in the past, and kind of make up a UTs roughly, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, we have a lot of things that work,
Yeah.
but aren't really finished, and so my personal hope is that we can kind of polish some of those out, so that we can realize the potential of them.
and or slash just find what our focus is,
Yeah.
basically, and
Slash
really
it.
hone in on something and
Yeah.
make that thing UT and yeah.
All right. One of the things that you've been doing is working on a modded bio rifle.
Yes.
So Joe Wilcox was showing me something yesterday that they were talking about the best weapons ever in gaming, and the bio rifle was way up there. I was like, more than the flat cannon, but yeah, the bio rifle was up in this guy's list. So it's definitely
It's always
definitely
been one of my
a favorite.
favorites, just because it's so unique.
Mhm.
But it is a very situational usefulness.
What-
Yeah, I mean it's great. Yeah.
The first time I saw somebody young using the bio rifle was back in the first UT, and the noise that it made was so funny that that's all he did. He didn't play the game. He just went around going all over the place, shooting it on the walls, watching it do. So it was very funny, and it's a great weapon.
It's kind of how
so.
I play too, only not intentionally.
Yeah, yeah. No, I played with you yesterday. You killed me 3 times with that thing. I was like, yeah. But do you wanna take a look at what Sydney's doing?
Yes. Alright, so
Look at all the shinies.
this is kind of something that's been kicking around in my head for a while, and this is sort of also really existed in UT previously as well. I know that previous iterations and prototypes of the bio rifle at some point have tried to do something similar as well.
Unreal 2 and Unreal Championship 2.
And basically, I really am a fan of traditional grenade launcher. In a sense, UT's never really had that as a, I guess, weapon verb, if you want to put it that way, as a thing to reach, you know, different spots and places. And the rocket launcher, grenade launcher is sort of the, I don't know, let me bring it up to kind of compare, but I honestly, I actually think both of these are valid next to each other, which some people might not agree with, but that's a different question, I guess. But the rocket launcher to me has always been the, I'm running away and I'm just kind of vomiting out this carpet of grenades that I know is going to stick to the ground, and it's going to kind of cover a wide area. So the utility there to me is still completely different from the launcher variant. If I can find it again, which is more the, you know, you can try and score some direct hits, lob it over far distances, sort of grenade launcher.
Do you have any idea of how much damage one of those grenades would do?
So I've actually brought it down a little bit.
Grenades?
Grenade. Or broccolis or something, I don't know. The grenades right now do 70 damage per
Oh, not
direct
bad.
hit. They have a relatively generous radius. One other thing they do is they leave kind of behind this poisonous cloud that you can actually, you know, do some area denial with and step into if you're not careful. Which also means if you get hit by one of those and you don't move and get out of the way or you're cornered, you can end up eating a pretty sizable penalty as well. They also have
Pretty
a,
amazing.
on top of that, they have kind of this proximity warning that goes off. So if you whiz by close somebody's head before the actual fuse is up, they'll prematurely enter kind of the detonation warning sequence, which lets them spin for a second. It beeps twice, and another thing that it does actually as it spins, it halves the projectile gravity as well. So if you get it at the right angle, you can actually kind of have it hover and swim in the air for a little bit and reach a little bit further. Just something silly that I was playing around with thought actually ended up feeling kind of neat to have, which originally really just started with me wanting to have some visual tell in there for, the fuses happening on top of the red thing. Let's just make it spin because it kind of felt neat,
Super
whatever.
cool.
For the alt-fire, one thing that I really wanted to try is do a simplified version of the web, and for this I basically just hacked together a quick prototype version that kind of uses some different, print algorithms to determine how the web should be spawned. It's a little bit more reliable if you know how to use it correctly. So like in situations like this, you can really cover up
amazing.
a doorway properly and easily. And at this point, if you touch it, it'll blow off. Currently also actually leaves behind a cloud that depends on the charge level. But it also, it doesn't just blow up when you shoot it.
But wait, there's more.
It actually, it's all tied into the charge level, basically. So the amount of strands that it tries to do is based on the charge level directly. So it takes 10 globs to charge. Each glob equals 1 strand, which then in turn also turns into how much damage this web can take before it explodes. Oops, no. So you can see that you can actually damage it a bunch of times before it blows up, and it leaves this poisonous cloud behind
That's
as well.
crazy.
What I really wanted to get out of this functionality-wise is take it away from the territory of being a web that you want to plan with and make it more something that's ad hoc usable. Originally, I had thought that, it might be cool to basically treat it like a shock combo and have the alt-fire be exploded by either any weapon damage or just your own primary bio-rifle damage, whatever. But it still didn't feel quite ad hoc enough to really be chased by somebody, run away, and just pop that thing down and force the guy that's chasing you to really go, oh shit, I have to deal with this now, and I can choose to kill it, which isn't too hard. It's basically like a player roughly, but you still have to deal with the fallout from it. You are actually effectively delayed. If you are tanked, then you can still kind of just brute force your way through, but you are taking a hit. And so I'm hoping that this would actually be fun and useful in that sense once people get used to playing around with it a little bit more, and have its place as being a useful defensive weapons in the moment, and not so much the thing that you plop down and like, oh, somebody's gonna come through here, and you wait for 2 minutes for somebody to come, they see it, and they just kind of blow it up in your face, and you're like, oh shit, I just spent all this time building it. But yeah, that's basically it. And also, I'm personally just a huge fan of the TF2 Demo Man, which I've logged most of my hours on in that game. So I just like the feel of basically, I don't know, it's like tossing a tennis ball around to me. It's really fun to hone in on the right distances. It's a very feel-based weapon. Like once you nail down how far your reach goes, you can pull off impressive, direct hits on people and stuff like that. So I don't know, I just really like how it feels and what these kind of weapons generally do. If it sticks around, who knows? Right now it's basically just its own.
Yeah, somebody said
separate-
OP.
It is. It does feel very OP from our tests, but I don't know if that's just because it's new and we haven't figured out how to deal with it yet. Or
Honestly, the feedback's going both ways so far. From what I've seen, some people say, I can hit shit with this thing, and other people say, it's OP, and
well,
I've kind of.
I think it's good that it's situational, although not as situational as the bio, which was like basically only had one use, was the full glob in someone's face.
It depends how good you
Hail
get with
Mary.
it, yeah. Because if you start getting good with this thing, then you can actually, effectively
insane
defend against
area
somebody
denial.
who's close range to you and pressures you into kind of panicking a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little spammy, I think personally, but I definitely see the potential of it. And I think that's mostly because I've been on the receiving end of White Gumby one too many times, which is carpeting an entire room with
Yeah,
them.
it's really annoying. And Quincy said this is his new favorite gun. And
But I'm sorry.
Sibu asked if you throw grenades at the web, what would happen?
It's basically just like any other weapon that does damage to the web. I'm going to run out of ammo here, but.
Redeemer.
I also like that if you look at the stuff that Stallhead was doing, the stuff that you're doing, there's some differences in functionality, but you're kind of going down similar roads of
It's
larger bouncy things as opposed to
similar
the
thought.
little tiny blobs.
Yeah, I think I'm going for a little bit of a quicker kind of approach, like a faster projectile speed. But yeah, basically it'll just take damage from grenades, so you could effectively combo your own thing too if you wanted to, in the sense of, I just want some air denial here for a second.
Oh,
to,
nice.
Disregarding
Wow.
So big.
all the prototypey,
That's
art that comes with this thing. It's all just shit that I quickly threw together to make it kind of work and read and communicate. But yeah, since it's an example map, it's going to get cooked with whenever we release our next build. It's not in any maps, but if people want to play around with it, they can use the weapon replace mutator to check it out.
Very cool. So they can check it out right now?
People
Somebody
who
wants to
are in
know
the...
if you can grenade jump. Race Piece Dave wants to know.
Yeah, there's actually kind of a bug with this thing right now where it's just like you can't really even arc it without
Not dying.
killing yourself
Just felt
because
like
it
you
goes off
jumped.
too early. So it needs some polish in that regard. But technically, it has some good momentum on it, so you can... Let me see.
I almost feel like you should use the link gun model instead of the bio,
Yeah.
but that's just...
Conceptually, I really like the idea of kind of, tying bio and canisters and the charge together, which is why, now one ammo is one grenade equals one canister.
Yeah.
One charge equals 10 canisters loaded into the gun, doing something. So to me, there's a cool, simple thematic possibility there to just connect those two together and make it easily understandable what's going on with the gun
That's
when
so
you're
cool.
using
I like
it.
that effect.
What was it in Unreal 2? Wasn't it a slug gun?
Canister gun.
Yeah, but there's slugs you could put in there, like living
Oh, yeah, that's
snail
right. You
things.
could.
Oh,
you can change it. That's
Not,
right.
Well, that's
not
also
shell slugs, but
Half-Life,
slug
right?
slugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I forgot about that.
Anyways, yep, that's that.
Yay, it's fun. You
Very
should try
cool.
it. Download
And
it, play it.
also yesterday we tried out whales weapons
Yep.
in the play test. Found some interesting things.
Well, it was interesting in that it was basically, at least to me anyway, it felt like playing 2K4. 2K4 weapons in the current
It's
game.
a mix. The rocket and
You
the flag
cut
were
UC
felt very
stuff too?
2K4. The
Yeah.
shock was very UT99, and the Stinger, I guess, felt completely different from what
Yeah.
was in
And
there.
the sniper rifle was glorious.
Yeah.
And it had the Unreal Championship
Glorious to shoot or to be shot at?
to shoot for sure. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was very interesting.
The sniper was the one that I did like. I did like the changes there.
And I love
The other
this-
ones,
the Unreal Championship or the Unreal Zoom graphic.
Oh yeah. We used a lot of Unreal or
We're wondering
2K4
where the hell that
sounds and stuff.
sniper zoom came from.
Yeah, it came
Yeah.
from. It was. He can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm
Excuse
pretty
me.
sure it was from Unreal 2, the multiplayer
I think
game.
so, yeah.
Oh, XMP.
XMP.
I really like that. We had a lot of fun playing that for a
I
while.
felt mildly disoriented.
I know this.
It
I
was
know this.
very weird at first because it was one of those things where there was too much change all at once, and everybody was like, "What does this weapon do? What does this weapon do?" But I think we played a few games, and once people started to get the hang of it, it made sense.
I think most of us actually do kind of. I mean, we still have some ideas, I think, for what we wanted to try with it, but I think 3-packs were still kind of fun to have back.
Uh-oh, controversy, controversy.
I
do miss my 3-packs.
I do like. That was definitely a controversy yesterday.
Not a huge. I should take that back. I've kind of taken a position of, hey, what if dart hit rockets wouldn't kill you instantly before too? But playing with it now, I'm not sure I'm really sold on it either anymore. I don't know. I mean,
I do think it's a good idea that we go back and do
it's an
one
interesting.
one weapon per game, 1 or 2 weapons instead of the all or nothing thing, because it was just a little.
Yeah.
That was a little crazy. It was fun though. I loved the
Well,
flag too.
I mean, like it or not, it forced you to think about things, and I think that's good, right?
Yep,
It made us
always.
look at our weapons in detail instead of just assuming that they are what they are, and we should move forward. So.
Right.
I think Will answered, but it scrolled up too fast. I think he said that was the Twilight. Yep, the Twilight Sniper Zoom from UC2.
UC2, yeah. Okay.
So we also saw some cool stuff this week from NATO. NATO did some
Oh yeah,
The boxes?
Box, the unlock.
the unlock boxes. Oh, you didn't see
I
those?
didn't see this.
Oh,
Crate
you must see these.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
this.
he did like the little crates, and you can scroll through the different crates. They are not functional or anything like that, but he's working on them in blueprints. So they're really cool too. So we asked people to give some feedback on those.
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, I love that too. And also, I have to look at his name because I forget now. Kingaz. I think that means something else. Okay. he was working on some Taye skins. We sent him over to the art department and said, hey, take a look at these, and they definitely have some good feedback and everything. They they're very visible.
Shell, do you have the image?
They got a really nice response on the forums and everything. So this is our
skins.
The skins. Sorry.
Boom.
So these are the skins that Kingaz did, and I think that he said that he has a pack file for them that people can check them out. But there are things that I really like the boots and stuff like this. But this is more concepts from the community, things that people working on stuff. They're a little busy.
Well, the Taye character himself, we acknowledge, is overly busy and has a lot of changing color contrast and stuff that.
And then having more stuff put on top of it is kind of.
And we recently went through it and redid some of our team skins, and again, it was kind of interesting to me to see how people in the community and us internally kind of chose some similar routes in terms of avoiding or putting more color into the areas that were previous dark, like the pants. So now our characters all have uniform team color, so you don't lose the legs at distance and wonder what team they're on. And he was kind of doing some of those same things. So,
actually, for what it's worth, on that note too, before the holiday break, Donaldson did some tweaks to our rim.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that.
I don't know if we
last
talked
week.
about that already.
Yeah, we did, and I was talking about it in IRC today too. Changes to the rib shader, changes to character skins, changes to scale. I mean, we've done a lot of stuff to improve character visibility. So I'm very curious to see what people think of the next build.
Yeah,
Still some more to do. I mean, we're
exciting.
talking about now. I think we can do character lights and things like that. So we have different things we can still.
Yeah.
Different tools to play with to try to.
Yes, we are getting lighting channels back, sort of. With the caveat of it's 3, I think, total that you can have. So theoretically, we can do character-only lights in the world now, which would basically have to be its own pass. That's part of the process of making a map.
I mean, our goal is not to have to use those heavily. I mean, our goal is to have
Ideally.
basically have the unified lighting and that work in most cases. But what that means is, if there's some spot,
edge case.
There's some edge case. This spot, no matter what I do, right, I can't have it lit reasonably and characters don't show up. Then you can throw in a character light and have. I mean, level designers have a final
or even
stopgap
just
solution.
a second sunlight that boosts characters a little bit or something.
Right. There's certain solutions that might work well in outdoor-only maps, but then we'll break it.
Thanks for helping us,
pull
Nick.
apart
We
indoor.
missed you.
Yeah. What's that?
What?
I told Nick, thanks for helping us.
Oh, we miss him. He comes back every once in a while.
He's busy VR.
When he takes
guy
his
now.
VR headset off,
Yes.
he comes to visit us.
Yeah, if you're keeping an eye on what's going on in VR, you'll see the Team Nick's name out there a lot. Nick Whiting and Nick Donaldson. They're doing a lot of really cool stuff and Bullet Train and that kind of stuff. So we're talking about maybe cutting back on the streams a little bit. Well, no.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. Cutting back on this stream and maybe doing some other things in the new year to make things a little bit more interesting. And we've kind of fallen into a habit of making sure that we do these every week, and we don't always have a lot of content, or we're really busy, and the guys that have stuff to do. So we're thinking, a weekly digest, maybe streaming some of the guys working during the week for a half an hour or so. I know they all are really excited about that. But yeah, I mean, it would be great to look over somebody's shoulder for a half an hour or so and watch them work. So we are discussing new things to do, so we probably won't be back here next week, but we will be back next week doing something. We just don't know exactly what it is. We're gonna talk to Shelly too, because Shelly's got some great ideas about what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And so we'll see you next week, just not here. Thank you. Make sure you go to the forums, give feedback on Kingaz's skins. Thank you, Kingaz, for making attempting to do some content. We love to see it. We love to see more. And Happy New Year. We'll see you soon.
Bye.